and by extension the Canadian public, and by extension the American public, and by extension the world public. So well done, Mr. Stanislaus. You are a hider of truth, just like your namesake in the Soviet Union back a while. Hope you enjoy that little critique, Mr. Stanislaus. So anyhow, yeah, we're done. We're done for today. Been a very good little protest. Oh, looks like I got into a second reel here. It basically runs for 17 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, and my battery's almost done. So yet another reason the battery's showing is pretty well finished. But since we went into another reel here, we'll just go a tiny little bit longer. But we'll just keep it running as I put my signs away. Just one last look at the sign about Sue Montgomery's involvement here, and I'll read it out loud. Totally truthful statement. Helpless children have been raped by Unitarian Universalist ministers, such as Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell of the Northborough and Westborough congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association in Massachusetts. He was charged, tried, and convicted and went to jail. But helpless children have also been raped by Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers, such as Stephen Craig Bullite, who was charged, tried, and convicted of raping a teenage boy who he had adopted. And apparently other things were found out about him as well, even after he was convicted. So he's cooling his heels in jail in Washington State, I believe. But there are others. These are not the only people. The Unitarian Universalist Association, however, goes to great lengths to keep this hidden as much as possible. So you can be assured that for every case I know about, and I know about more than this, there are a certain number of cases I do not know about. There are literally hundreds of cases of Unitarian Universalist clergy sexual misconduct. It ranges from low-end stuff, you know, such as basically fondling, you know, parishioners and stuff like that, you know, having affairs with parishioners, lots of that. Tons and tons and tons of Unitarian Universalist ministers having affairs with congregants. But anyway, getting back to the Gazette's retired justice reporter, Sue Montgomery, and I put retired in quotation marks because I think there's very real possibility that Sue Montgomery was basically forced out of the Gazette after she falsely accused me of libel in an effort to silence me. Sue Montgomery's, you know, in quotation marks, buyout, retirement from the Gazette came approximately 1 month after I protested against her complicity in Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse cover-up outside the Gazette, and a few months after she had me served with this bullshit cease and desist demand letter, which falsely accused me of libeling her for telling the readily verifiable truth about her refusal to report on the injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy that I've been protesting against for years. And more specifically, the Unitarian Universalist Association's immoral, unethical, borderline criminal misuse of Canada's blasphemy law and clergy sex abuse cover-up and denial legal bullying on the part of the Unitarian Universalist Association. So yes, the Gazette and its retired justice reporter, it's not just Sue Montgomery. The Gazette as an institution is just as guilty. Sue Montgomery no doubt played a role. Sue Montgomery certainly as an individual refused to report the UUA's misuse of blasphemy law and clergy abuse cover-up legal bullying, but you know, I bypassed her. You know, when she refused, you know, I went to the Gazette editors and news desk and asked them to report it. Well, they didn't either. So the Gazette's just as guilty as Sue Montgomery in never reporting the Unitarian Universalist Association's immoral, unethical, borderline criminal, and I don't mind saying bat, shit, crazy, attempted misuse of Canada's blasphemy law in clergy sex abuse cover-up legal bullying back in 2012, was it? Was it June of 2012 that they made that false accusation of blasphemous libel? I believe so. So anyway, that's it. We're wrapping this up, I think. I see some people standing around, so I'm just going to keep this going while I gather up the signs. And oh, what's going on here? They're having a look at Good day.
Here's the bad news.
Yes. You're not a Montreal Unitarian, I take it?
I definitely am, and I find good news there.
Oh, well, there's bad news too. Well, you want to take a list of my picket signs? Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Oh, be my guest. Here, I'll show them all to you. But you know what you should be doing? You should be practicing Unitarian Universalism's fourth principle, which calls for a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Because if you do, you'll discover that everything I'm saying on these picket signs is very, very truthful. And you've got serious problems in this church locally, but also in your larger religious community. So anyhow, you got this already? So what I'm saying here is that Unitarian Universalists, more specifically the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston, has falsely accused me of violating Canada's blasphemy law in clergy sex abuse cover-up and denial legal bullying, which seeks to conceal pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. This is an entirely truthful statement, and you are complicit in it until such a time as you speak out against it. So here we go. This one is about specifically Sue Montgomery. Sue Montgomery, besides being a member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, was also the Gazette's justice reporter. I asked her on numerous occasions, even before the Unitarian Universalist Association falsely accused me of blasphemous libel in an effort to hide pedophilia and rape, I asked her to report on my protest and so on. She always refused. But after I was accused of the criminal act of blasphemous libel in legal bullying, which sought to conceal pedophilia and rape, I specifically asked Sue Montgomery to report that story in her capacity as the Gazette's justice reporter, and she refused. So this is a protest, entirely truthful statement. Helpless children have in fact been raped by Unitarian Universalist ministers, one of them being Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell. Google Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell and you will see what I'm talking about. And Sunday school teachers. Sunday school teachers, Unitarian Universalist ones, specifically Stephen Craig Bullite, as one of the more recent examples, have raped children. But the Gazette's retired justice reporter, Sue Montgomery, never reported in the Gazette or anywhere else, to my knowledge, the Unitarian Universalist Association's, I'm going to add some words here, immoral, unethical, borderline criminal, and quite frankly, bat-shit crazy attempted misuse of Canada's blasphemy law in clergy sex abuse, cover-up and denial legal bullying. Entirely truthful statement. What else we got here? In the back of this, you liars bear false witness against me. Well, I just gave an example of that, but there's much more. Unitarian Universalist slander and libel, suck you, asterisk you. Some of what Unitarian Universalists are saying about me constitutes slander and libel in my view, and as far as I'm concerned, that sucks. Let's see what else we got here. Unitarian Universalist perversion of justice, sucks you, asterisk you. Well, the false blasphemous libel accusation against me is one example of Unitarian Universalist perversion of justice, misuse of the criminal justice system to try and silence me, but there are others, including Sue Montgomery's false libel accusation against me, which she has yet to bring to court because she knows I'll win. But are you aware of the fact that I was arrested on criminal charges back in 2000?
I hear you're hurt.
No, are you listening to what I'm saying? I'm telling you facts. I'm telling facts about what your church has done.
And I've read a lot about it.
Right. So I asked you a question. Well, I'm glad you're acknowledging that, but I did ask you a question. I'd like you to answer it. Are you aware that in December of 2000, I was arrested on criminal charges at the behest of Montreal Unitarians? Do you know about that?
Yeah, I do.
You do know about that. Okay. So here's what happened.
What I wonder is, I believe, well, show me the rest.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad you're now engaging in what might be called a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. A church that spits in God's eye. That's an old one, as you can see, it's kind of faded. But that's about anti-religious bigots here at this church behaving in a manner that is deeply insulting to me and as far as I'm concerned, to God.